In our recent series of true crime documentaries, we've been hopping around alluring retreats and exploring the juxtaposition of beautiful settings and heinous crimes across various islands. While our next subject is not strictly an island, it is geographically situated in the humid and tropical Caribbean region. Our next destination is renowned for its vibrant and influential culture. It is the birthplace of two globally recognized music genres, merengue and bachata, and is famous for its mastery of the platano, making many staple dishes such as mangú, mofongo, and tostones. It is also known for some high-profile murders and disappearances that will definitely leave your jaw dropped, including political assassinations and some crimes even tied to black magic and satanic cults. ¿Qué lo que, mi gente? We're talking about the Dominican Republic, often referenced by the name of its capital, Santo Domingo. So get your sunscreen lotion ready and pull up your beach chairs, because we're remaining here in the Caribbean catching a tan. Hope you true crime junkies came for your hit of this. Welcome to How to Deal. Before we begin, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out our other true crime documentaries to help scratch that itch you've been feeling. Now let's begin. The murder of Jose Rafael Llenas Aybar, 1996. In the late 1900s, there was a well-connected family named the Llenas Aybar family. They was considered upper class and was affluent and politically connected with close ties to major political figures and media moguls. They had a son named Jose Rafael Llenas Aybar, who was 12 years old by 1996, a bright young man with a bright future being paved for him. He was the first cousin of former baseball player Winston Llenas and third cousin of Dominican President Hipólito Mejia. On May 3, 1996, Jose Rafael calls his mother at work to ask permission to attend a motorcycle exhibition at a local supermarket with his 18-year-old cousin, Mario Jose Redondo Llenas, who had promised to take his little primo. Permission was granted with the stipulation that he'll be back by 5 p.m. on the dot. Later that afternoon, Mario calls Jose Rafael's mother to say he dropped off Jose at the bowling alley to meet some friends, a detail the mother found very odd and out of character for her son. Alarmed and concerned, the mother goes to the bowling center and the supermarket, finding no sign of her son, and confirming that there was no actual motorcycle exhibition even taking place. Jose Rafael is now reported missing, and a massive search is launched by the family members, close associates, and even his cousin Mario, who participates in the efforts. The following day, on May 4th, the body of a child is discovered in the creek of the northwest of Santo Domingo. The body was found in crude conditions, bound in thick duct tape and showing signs of extreme brutality, having received 34 stab wounds. The body was positively identified as Jose Rafael Llenas Aybar. The investigation quickly focuses on the last person seen with the victim, which was his older cousin Mario. Under intense interrogation, Mario confesses to the murder. The unbelievable revelation that the killer was the victim's first cousin from the same affluent family sent shockwaves across the Dominican Republic. The case gained immense notoriety due to its brutality and the family's status. It became one of the first broadly televised trials in Dominican history, generating intense, minute-by-minute media coverage. Mario's definitive motive for the murder of his little cousin Jose remains a point of considerable debate and speculation in the Dominican Republic. Although his official confession states his motive was a robbery and a personal conflict between the two, this motive is widely questioned. Some speculate this murder had ties to black magic or some sort of satanic cult. These allegations primarily came about through the connection of other individuals accused in the conspiracy and the sensational nature of the crime and trial. The husband and son of the Argentina ambassador to the Dominican Republic was allegedly tied to the murder. That family believed in macumba, a religion related to Afro-Brazilian spiritual practices, and also a brujo, who is a black magic practitioner, was publicly discussed during the trial. The shocking condition of the victim's body, bound in duct tape and having received 34 stab wounds, contributed to the speculation that the murder was ritualistic or tied to something more sinister than a simple robbery. Although the details remain unclear, the public discussion, the involvement of the high-profile Argentinian family with alleged ties to black magic, and the brutality of the crime fueled the sensational claims of cult involvement. Mario Redondo Llenas was sentenced to 30 years in prison, the maximum penalty at the time. In 2023, after serving 27 years, Mario was released on parole. The Mirabal sisters' assassination, 1960. Our next story, like our last one, should excite you history buffs, as it is not only a historical moment in history, it was a pivotal time in the Dominican Republic, marking a turning point in the political resistance against the brutal 31 years dictatorship of Rafael Leonidas Trujillo, known as El Jefe. From 1930 to 1961, Trujillo ruled the Dominican Republic as an absolute dictator, creating one of the most ruthless regimes in Latin American history. One of the most horrible things Trujillo did was dubbed the Parsley Massacre in 1937, when he ordered the systematic extermination of Haitians living in the borderlands of the Dominican Republic. The killings carried out over approximately a week. Victims were identified by their inability to correctly pronounce the Spanish word for parsley, perejil, a shibboleth used to distinguish Spanish speakers from Haitian Creole speakers. Although the numbers aren't totally accurate, anywhere from 12,000 to 35,000 men, women, and children were viciously murdered, motivated by extreme xenophobia. His ultimate downfall began in 1949 when he met Minerva Mirabal. Minerva was the first woman in the Dominican Republic who graduated law school, although she would later be denied her license to practice law due to her encounter with dictator Rafael Trujillo. At a party in the aforementioned year, their personal conflict began when Mirabal repeatedly rejected his persistent and arrogant sexual advances. This personal insult greatly angered the dictator and ultimately sealed the fate of the Mirabal family. After this, Minerva was repeatedly harassed. Not only did he revoke her license to practice law, he gained a political adversary. Minerva and her husband, Manuel, helped form and lead the clandestine opposition group known as the 14th of June political group, influenced by the Fidel Castro revolution happening a few miles away overseas. Her two other sisters, Maria Teresa and Patria, alongside their husbands, also joined the movement after witnessing a massacre by Trujillo forces. The sisters' code name within the movement was the Butterflies, or Las Mariposas. Their direct action was to distribute pamphlets detailing Trujillo's crimes and helping to acquire materials for a planned open revolt. Starting in late 1959 to early 1960, after the movement's plans were betrayed, several arrests were made, including the Butterflies and their husbands. In May of 1960, they were convicted of undermining state security and sentenced to 3 years in prison. Just short of a month of their conviction, only the Butterflies were unexpectedly released from prison by express provision of Trujillo. This appears to be a show of generosity to appease mounting international criticism, but is later revealed to be a part of the assassination plot. On November 25, 1960, Minerva, Patria, and Maria Teresa, along with their driver, Rufino de la Cruz, were returning from visiting their imprisoned husbands. Trujillo's henchmen from the secret police ambushed their jeep on a remote mountain road near Puerto Plata. They are separated from their driver, beaten and strangled to death with clubs and/or hands. The bodies of the three sisters and their driver are then placed back inside the Jeep, which is pushed over a cliff to stage the appearance of a tragic accidental car plunge. The cover-up was clumsy and fooled virtually no one. The blatant, brutal murder of three prominent, well-educated women, one of them a mother and pregnant, shocked and outraged the Dominican public like no other atrocity had before. Their murder turned the butterflies into instant martyrs for the resistance and galvanized the underground movement. Just over 6 months later, on May 30, 1961, a group of high-ranking military officers and conspirators assassinated Rafael Trujillo in a roadside ambush, ending his tyrannical reign and creating the opportunity for the nation to transition towards a democratic governance. The case of Emely Peguero, 2017. This one is on a more current, compelling, and tragic case that brought significant attention to gender-based violence in the Dominican Republic. Emely Peguero was a 16-year-old girl from the outskirts of Cenoví, a town in the Duarte province. Her family struggled financially, juggling low-paying jobs to support her and her three older siblings. Emely began dating Marlin Martinez, a local childhood friend, when she was 15 and he was 18. This meant their relationship involved a minor, as she was below the legal age of consent in the Dominican Republic. Her parents were supportive of their daughter being in the relationship, but did not warm to Marlin's mother, Marlin Martinez, who they felt was judgmental of their family. Marlin was described as a senior, well-connected civil servant and a powerful political figure in the Dominican Republic. Her family was characterized as wealthy and powerful, which contrasted with Emely's humble background. Shortly but surely, in early 2017, she became pregnant at the age of 16. On Wednesday, August 23, 2017, her boyfriend Marlin picks her up to take her to a doctor's appointment. When Emely fails to return home that evening and doesn't reply to messages, her family reports her missing. Shortly after, Marlin and his mother Marlin holds a press conference. They claim Emely was part of the family and state that Marlin dropped her off at a gas station. They appear to be cooperating and concerned. Social media attention explodes as the community and general public become heavily invested in finding the pregnant teenager. On Monday, August 28, 2017, police traced the geolocation of Emely's phone to an apartment belonging to Marlin in San Francisco de Macorís. Marlin is then detained for questioning. He initially denies involvement but eventually changes his story multiple times. By Wednesday, August 30, Marlin confesses to disposing of Emely's body, claiming he left it in a local landfill. This leads to a massive but unsuccessful search. Marlin, amidst growing public pressure and suspicion, hands herself over to authorities, claiming she only wanted to cooperate. Many believe her wealth and influence would be used to protect her son. The next day, on the 31st, Emely's body is found inside a suitcase on an estate in the province of España, about an hour from her hometown of Cenoví. An autopsy later determines Emely died from a blow to the head and that her body shows signs of a forced abortion. Widespread outrage erupts across the Dominican Republic. Protests, demonstrations, and marches against femicide and gender-based violence take place in major cities, demanding justice for Emely. The hashtag Justicia para Emely goes viral internationally. In November of 2018, Marlin is found guilty of murder and sentenced to 30 years in prison, the country's maximum sentence. Marlin Martinez is found guilty of kidnapping and concealing the body and is sentenced to 5 years in prison. The relatively short sentence for Marlin's mother sparks immediate and furious public protests. Many felt her political connections and power led to a lenient sentence, fueling the narrative of class inequality in the justice system. A court of appeal increased Marlin's sentence from 5 years to 20 years in prison. And with that, we close the book on these 3 profoundly disturbing yet pivotal cases from the Dominican Republic. From the shockingly brutal, high society murder of Jose Rafael a crime that ripped apart an affluent family and still leaves a trail of speculation regarding ritualistic undertones, to the incredible courage and ultimate sacrifice of the Mirabal sisters, whose assassination by a brutal dictator lit the flame for democratic change. And finally, the heartbreaking and all too recent case of Emely Peguero, which became a furious rallying cry against femicide and social inequality, exposing deep, painful cracks in the country's justice system. These stories aren't just sensational headlines. They are moments that have fundamentally shaped the Dominican national conscience, showing the complex and often dark reality that lies beneath the Caribbean sunshine. Check out some of our other true crime documentaries. Thanks for watching, and take care.